That brings us to tonight's New Yorker of the Week. After 16 years behind bars, he was exonerated. Now he's a free man giving back. Take a look.
This is New Yorker of the Week.
When he was 17 years old, Jeffrey Dec.12 was convicted for murdering a classmate, except he didn't do it.
I felt hopeless, helpless. You have to fight off those feelings, to fight off feelings of giving up. I mean, the thoughts of suicide come in your head every now and then. So in a lot of ways, you're not just fighting a battle against the prosecutor or even against the court.
Jeffrey won that legal battle after being incarcerated for 16 years. DNA evidence cleared him of the crime. In 2006, he was set free, an innocent man trying to make sense of the pain.
I couldn't forget about the men and women who I metaphorically left behind. I know that there's many people who are still wrongfully imprisoned, just as I was.
So Jeffrey is helping to free them. Using money he won from settling a lawsuit, he founded the Jeffrey Dec.12 Foundation for Justice.
He struck again 3.5 years later.
Jeffrey raises awareness at presentations with law enforcement officials across the city. He works closely with inmates during trials and helps the exonerated integrate back into society. William Lopez was one of them. After serving 23 years for a crime he didn't commit, Lopez tragically died after his release.
We miss you a lot, Bill.
Jeff did a lot for us in every aspect. We got into an apartment, he paid for our apartment. Anything we needed, Jeff was there for us.
And he's been there for dozens of New Yorkers.
I ran into hard times and I came homeless for a little while. And he is a special person. You don't have too many people that will do that for you.
Knowing that the system is in place is unchanged from the time that I was wrongfully convicted means that wrongful convictions can happen just as easily now as they have before. And so that drives me, that motivates me to continue to do this work.
And so, for fighting for the innocence of those he left behind, Jeffrey Dec.12 is our New Yorker of the Week.
It's been a long time, 23 years, Mom.
And joining us now in the studio is our New Yorker of the Week, Jeffrey Dec.12. Jeffrey, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me.
To the extent that you're comfortable, take us back to 1990. You're 17 years old, and a 15-year-old classmate at Peekskill High School is raped, beaten, and strangled. What led police to you?
Police said two things led them to me. First, they said that I was overly upset at the victim having been murdered, but then again, this really shook up everybody in the city of Peekskill. Secondly, they said that some of the kids in the school told them that they might want to talk to me because I was quiet and to myself.
You were quiet and to yourself, and as a result, you were considered suspicious.
Yes.
But what led to an arrest? I understand there was a confrontation in the interrogation room. What happened in the room?
Well, basically, the police interrogated me for about 7 hours. I was hooked up to a polygraph test. There were 3 police officers there. The polygraphist himself was a police officer, but he was dressed as a civilian, pretending not to be one. They overwhelmed me emotionally, psychologically. There was threats and false promise. And I was 16 years old, and at the end, I was just in fear of my life. And by the end, police officer's own testimony, at the end of the interrogation, I was on the floor in a fetal position, crying uncontrollably.
And did you confess?
I did. I made up a story based on information which they had given me in the course of their interrogation. Again, I just want to point out that I wasn't thinking long term. I was only concerned with my safety in the moment.
You want to get out of the room and you're thinking this could perhaps help you.
Sure.
You're a teenager at the time.
Yes.
You soon realize what's happening. You proclaim your innocence numerous times. Take us through the next sort of couple of years of your life as you try to dig out of this place you're in.
Well, I was really stunned when I was convicted, because in my way of thinking, only the guilty people were convicted. From that point forward, I lived from appeal to appeal. I thought that I was going to win the next appeal, justice would happen because I was innocent and I still believed in the system. Ultimately, I lost all 7 appeals. I was turned down for parole. Luckily for me, at the end, the Innocence Project agreed to take my case. The former Westchester County District Attorney, who had prevented me from getting DNA testing, left office. Her successor allowed me to have further testing, and then I got lucky that the actual perpetrator had gotten caught, killing another victim 3.5 years later after he committed the crime for which I did the time. And so that resulted, when we did the DNA test to the data bank, it identified him, and I was exonerated, and he was arrested and convicted for the crime.
And confessed to it.
I confessed to it, not just to the police, but I want to point out, he also confessed to a reporter on video camera, so absolutely no coercion or false confession there.
So I just want to be clear, you had asked for new DNA testing that was denied to you.
Yes.
You then get a new DA in town.
Yes.
And the new DA says, sure, run some more tests, and those tests cleared your name, and
Yes.
here you are suddenly free after 16 years.
Yes.
What was it like to re-enter society?
Everything was different. I mean, you spend a lot of time away from your extended family, so they're strangers to you. Technology is different. You've already lost touch with all your friends. In many ways, it feels like you're like a fish out of water.
Who believed you throughout your ordeal?
Definitely my mother and my family believed in me.
Did you find enough resources to help you integrate back into society? Was anyone there to help you beside your family members?
There were no resources. When people are released as a result of being exonerated, the state just, kicks you out of the facility and that's it. Whereas if I was guilty and on parole, then I would have greater resources. The one private entity that I do want to give a special mention to would be Mercy College, because they gave me a full scholarship to complete the bachelor's degree, which also included books, a meal plan, and they allowed me to stay in their dorms. Otherwise, at one point, I was going to go into a homeless shelter.
So you sued?
I did.
Settled?
I did.
Yep.
Well, I settled and I had a jury verdict. So basically, I sued in state court. I settled with the state. I also brought a 1983 federal civil rights lawsuit. I sued City of Peekskill. They settled with me. I sued Westchester County because of the fraud of the medical examiner. They settled with me. I sued Legal Aid for malpractice. They settled with me. And I had a trial against the Putnam County Sheriff's investigator, Daniel Stevens, and that went to trial, and I recently won.
And instead of taking your money that you've earned and keeping it, you're giving it away. You're
A
sharing it.
percentage, yes.
You're sharing
Yes.
it with people who are still on the inside, who you
Yes.
believe are innocent. Tell us about what motivated you to make that decision.
Because I saw a gap in the system, and I sought to fill it. I knew that most organizations in the field will only take on a DNA case, whereas that's only available in 5 to 12% of the cases. To me, innocence is innocence, and so if there's a way of proving somebody is innocent, why should that case be turned down just because there's no DNA? Hence the exonerative component of the foundation. Then on the reintegrative side, having experienced no resources when I was released, I thought it was important to help exonerees re-enter society, and that's why the foundation has leased an apartment with several people, including one of the gentlemen that was on, in fact, several of them, Mr. Lopez and Mr. Bellamy, both exonerees, have used that apartment to assist them back, reintegrating back into society.
And on your website, I spent some time there today, and you have a couple of things that you're advocating for. And we only have about 2 minutes to go in our segment, so I want to talk about a couple of them that I thought were interesting. The police interrogation tactics, which you've already brought up today. How would you change that, knowing what you've been through?
It should be videotaped completely from beginning to end. That would be a clear record of who said what, when, and what context. It would prevent police officers from leaving details out. It'd be clear if somebody was coerced or not, whether they were really volunteering non-public facts or not.
Also, expert testimony on false confessions. You want that included if something goes to trial?
Absolutely, because the general public think that an innocent person would never confess, yet false confessions have been the cause of wrongful convictions in 25%, the 321 DNA-proven wrongful convictions. The false confession expert testimony, they wouldn't give an opinion on a particular confession. Instead, they would just share with the jury what the general factors are which could lead an innocent person to confess.
Where do you take this message? Who needs to hear this? Where does your organization do when it's not helping the individual? Where are you getting this message out?
Well, 2 tracks. Firstly, we are educating elected officials and the general public, because we need them to pass laws to prevent wrongful convictions from happening. And the second track is voluntary compliance, in that I deal with a lot of criminal justice professionals. So I speak at police academies, in front of district attorney associations, judicial conferences, and also defense bars.
Jeffrey, how can people help you?
They can go to my website, www.Dec.org. We are currently running an Indiegogo campaign, which we're looking to raise funds online to continue this work. I just want to share with everybody that, I work about 50, 60 hours a week. I don't get paid for it. I never will. This is a thing for the heart. But I have a staff that works on clearing people. Clearly, I can't do that on my own, and unfortunately, that costs money. So if everybody can just do a little bit, we can accomplish a lot.
If you're wondering how to spell Deskovic, we're going to have the website on our screen for our viewers in just a moment. Jeffrey, my final question for you. How many people on the inside do you think have been wrongfully convicted. How many people are innocent?
I believe the percentage is 15 to 20%. Just to support that really quickly, 13 people that I personally knew and did time with over my 16 years were exonerated, either before me or after me.
13.
Yes. Last year we had a banner year. 89 people were exonerated. This year it's up to 90. Just from January until now, new District Attorney of Brooklyn, Ken Thompson, has exonerated 11 people through his Conviction Integrity Unit. I believe all of that is just the surface.
Jeffrey Dec.12, our New Yorker of the Week. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Your story.
Thank you so much for giving me that honor. It's very humbling. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. For more information, you can go online to deskovic.org, deskovic.org. And of course, if you know someone to make a good New Yorker of the Week, email us at nyer@ny1.com or write to us at 75 9th Avenue, 6th floor, New York, New York, 10011. That's all the time we have for now. I'm John Shumo, and I'll talk with you Monday.